Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. This is the first Monday Night Raw under Triple H's era. And did not watch SummerSlam on Saturday night, but I've seen clips here and there of what went down. And I saw that Bayley and Dakota Kai and Io Shirai, which she is now being called Io Sky, which I have no problem with that. So they're in a group. Dakota Kai and Io Sky are in a group led by Bayley, making her return, which I was very happy to see Bayley return. She was greatly missed. And I was so happy when I found out that she came back at SummerSlam. I'm like, finally, she is back. So, and then I saw Bianca Belaire and Becky Lynch. And Becky ended up turning back into a babyface because at the end of the match, they end up showing respect for each other. So finally glad that babyface Becky Lynch is back, or the man is back. Thank God, because Becky as a heel at what Vince McMahon did with Becky and making her heel, absolutely fucking cringe what Vince McMahon did to Becky. Having her going out there, dressing all in these clothing, which I'm like, what the fuck is she wearing? But she appeared on Monday Night Raw tonight. She opened Monday Night Raw, and she looked normal. She was dressed normally and not in the clothes that probably Vince told her to go out and wear. So good that we got babyface Becky Lynch back. And I saw Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar coming out with a tractor, picking up the ring. I thought that was great. I have never seen that before, of a superstar coming out on a tractor and just picking up the ring like that. At least in that match, we did not get a ring collapse, because the ring collapses have been played out ever since we saw Brock Lesnar and the Big Show do it back in 2003 on SmackDown, which that was the first time that they did the ring collapse. So, and then they did it for Big Show and Mark Henry at Vengeance 2011. And then they did it for Braun Strowman and Big Show on Raw, I remember. So, but at least something different. Having Brock Lesnar come out on a tractor and picking up the ring with the tractor and turning it, a little bit, upside down or upwards. Not upside down, upwards, I meant. So, and then you had Austin Theory come out there. He tried to cash it in, which he failed again. And Brock Lesnar delivered the F5 to Theory, which Theory botched. He botched landing on the briefcase. So, but saw all that for SummerSlam. And then I see Logan Paul doing a frog splash in his match against The Miz. I'm like, wow, Logan Paul could do a frog splash. Who cares? So, gotta have my Snapple here. I'm like, even if I did see that match, I wouldn't have cared for Logan Paul and The Miz. So that's what I saw of SummerSlam. And going into Monday Night Raw tonight, I was actually looking forward to the show. Considering it's the first Monday Night Raw under Triple H. And I gotta say, it was a good show tonight. It felt fresh. The pacing of the show felt right. And we did not get no rematches. It was a breath of fresh air with Monday Night Raw tonight. The first show on the Triple H. So, but we had triple threat matches tonight where the two winners of the triple threat match will face off later on in the night in a one-on-one match to face Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship next week on Monday Night Raw. So we saw that tonight. So the first triple threat match was AJ Styles versus Mustafa Ali versus The Miz. Then we saw Seth Rollins versus Montez Ford. Asuka versus Alexa Bliss. We saw the other triple threat match where it was Ciampa versus Chad Gable and Dolph Ziggler. And then we saw, of course, the Usos versus Rey and Dominik Mysterio, where the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship was on the line, which was the main event. But overall, Monday Night Raw, good show tonight. It was very enjoyable. And it kept me entertained for the whole 3 hours. But let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch came out. Her arm was in a sling because Becky Lynch got hurt during her match with Bianca at SummerSlam on Saturday. So she headed out. We saw a recap of their match for the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. And then Becky got on the mic. She ended up welcoming the audience to the big time. Becky went on to say that she gives everything she does her all. And she's happy to say that she finally remembered who she was at SummerSlam. And I think with Becky saying all this, saying that she finally remembered who she was at SummerSlam, this sounded like an apology from Becky to the fans of how Vince McMahon booked Becky to be a heel. Because you could tell, probably Becky didn't even like being a heel and going out there dressing all stupid in these clothes that she wore whenever she made her way out. Under Vince McMahon. So it kind of sounded like Becky was apologizing to us, the fans. And you could tell that this was all Triple H's writing here for Becky. Becky ended up saying that it wasn't in the need for validation or fancy clothes, but rather grit, determination, and own up to her mistakes. She confirmed that she separated her shoulder at SummerSlam. And she ended up saying that she had two choices. She could either give up or continue. Becky ended up saying that while the 20 minutes in the match was very painful, she ended up saying that it wasn't as painful as facing who she had become. Becky wanted to say that she gave her match her best and she will not be defined by any man. She ended up saying that she defines the man, and she ended up saying that she is starting a new era. Becky thanked Bianca for pushing her throughout the past year, and Becky then ended up calling Bianca out to the ring. So Bianca ended up coming out. Bianca got on the mic. She ended up saying that Becky didn't only define the man, but she is the man. So both Bianca and Becky ended up shaking hands. They ended up hugging one another. Becky ended up telling Bianca to hold down the fort. So Becky ended up exiting the ring. So Bianca ended up getting on the mic. She ended up saying that she has nothing but respect for Becky. She ended up saying that she hasn't forgot about all the times Becky has betrayed her. She ended up saying that she has never wanted to be handed anything. And Bianca ended up saying that Becky made her work to keep her title. She ended up saying that being able to gain Becky's respect means something. She ended up saying that she's learned a lot from Becky. So Bianca ended up saying that she stays ready, including Bayley and Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So then we went backstage and we saw Bayley, Dakota, and Io Sky. They end up attacking Becky Lynch with a chair. And Bianca end up getting out of the ring, run to the back to check on Becky. So Bianca end up making her way back there. Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky end up retreating. And pretty much that was basically that. But this was a good opening to Raw here. You know, Becky coming out there, you know, back to being a baby face. All the stuff that she said, you know, as she was trying to find and remember who she was at SummerSlam, you know, and owning up to her mistakes. And, you know, saying that she had two choices at SummerSlam. She could have gave up or continue. So, like I said, this was all an apology from Becky to the fans on her being, you know, the heel that Vince McMahon made her, the awful heel that, you know, Vince ended up making Becky, and having her go out there dressed in these fancy clothes, which at points made her look awful when she came out. So, and then I'm liking, you know, Bayley and Dakota Kai and Io Sky as this group. You know, it's very interesting. And Dakota Kai and Io Sky, they came back, and you could tell that Triple H, you know, made an agreement with them to come back to the company, considering they got released. So I'm really happy that Triple H gone out and called up Dakota Kai and Io Sky to come back to the company. Because when Dakota Kai got released, I'm like, oh, she's going to be going to AEW. But I'm really glad that, you know, Triple H ended up, you know, calling, you know, Dakota Kai and Io Sky back and bringing them back to the company. And now that they're in this group led by Bayley, it's awesome. It just makes me think of, you know, old NXT. You know, when Bayley and Dakota Kai and Io Sky, when all three of them were down there. Just bringing back those good old days of NXT Black and Gold. So, and I forgot to mention, the first hour of the show was commercial free, which was good because it was a stacked show tonight for Monday Night Raw. And then we saw a video showcasing the legacy of the United States Championship. And this was very good. This was very well done. JBL was narrating through this, as we saw many superstars that have held the United States Championship, which the United States Championship has been completely forgotten for years under Vince McMahon. That and the Intercontinental Championship, you know, two titles that Vince McMahon had completely, you know, forgotten about. Like, when was the last time we saw the Intercontinental Championship defended at a pay-per-view? You know, we saw the United States Championship defended at SummerSlam, but this was Triple H showcasing prestige of the United States Championship, unlike Vince McMahon. So what you saw there was change, you know, with Triple H there. Triple H is making the United States Championship prestige again. And so in the video we saw, you know, superstars that have held, you know, the United States Championship, you know, from Harley Race to Sergeant Slaughter, Bret Hart, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, also JBL, Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, John Cena, which John Cena had one of the greatest runs with the United States Championship. That whole time when John Cena was the United States Champion was very awesome. Every single week, he'd have somebody come out there and he'd issue an open challenge for anybody to face him for the United States Championship. That was just very well done. And, you know, you had John Cena with the Spinner U.S. Championship, which was awesome. I know a lot of people hated that, but I really liked that, at that time. So, and then of course you have Bobby Lashley, who was the current United States champion. So, but Triple H did a good thing tonight, where he issued 2 triple threat matches. The winners of the 2 triple threat matches will get to face one-on-one, and then the winner will get to face Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. So, but the whole legacy of the United States Championship, video, like I said, very well done and very good. Triple H bringing back that prestige of the United States Championship. I mean, it is supposed to be looked at, other than not being forgotten as what Vince McMahon did. The United States Championship should be defended at every pay-per-view. Same for the Intercontinental Championship. Like I said, very good video showcasing the legacy of the title. And then we had the first match of the night, which was the triple threat match. So it was the first triple threat match. The Miz, AJ Styles, and Mustafa Ali. And this was a very good match. This was a very good triple threat match. Styles ended up charging in at The Miz. The Miz had his ribs, taped up after his match with Logan Paul at SummerSlam on Saturday. So The Miz ended up rolling out of the ring. Mustafa Ali and Styles ended up going at it. Miz ended up dragging Styles out of the ring. Miz ended up sending Styles head first into the commentary table. Mustafa Ali ended up taking The Miz down with a crossbody through the middle rope. So after that, Mustafa Ali ended up tossing The Miz back in the ring. Miz sent Mustafa Ali face first into the middle turnbuckle. Styles ended up getting back in the ring, and Miz ended up throwing Styles into the middle turnbuckle. Miz delivered a couple of kicks to Styles, and then a few chops and a running knee to Styles. Miz then rolled up Styles, and Styles ended up kicking out. Styles delivered a right hand to The Miz, but The Miz ended up whipping Styles into the corner. Styles ended up sitting The Miz on the top turnbuckle, and he delivered a chop to The Miz. Miz fought off Styles, and Mustafa Ali ended up flying in, delivered a forearm to The Miz. Styles ended up delivering a suplex to Mustafa Ali. Miz ended up kicking Styles in the face, and then he delivered a DDT to Mustafa Ali. So Miz ended up going for the cover. Mustafa Ali ended up kicking out. Miz then delivered the it kicks to Mustafa Ali, and Styles ended up coming back and delivered the enziguri to The Miz. And at the end of the match, this was awesome right here, where we had Mustafa Ali. He climbed up to the top rope. He delivered the 450 to The Miz. Styles ended up catching Mustafa Ali and delivered the Styles Clash to Mustafa Ali and dropped him on top of The Miz. So Styles ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Styles ended up winning the match. Overall, very good match this was. Good wrestling from both Miz, Styles, and Mustafa Ali here. And just was very enjoyable. So AJ Styles moves on, and he gets to fight whoever wins the second triple threat match. So then we went backstage, and we saw Becky Lynch. She was recounting to the doctor and Adam Pearce about what happened. So Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky were approached by Sarah Schreiber. Sarah Schreiber ended up asking them why they attacked Becky Lynch. So Bayley ended up saying that it wasn't about Becky or Bianca, but it was about them. It was about her, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. So they end up walking off, and the Usos end up walking in, which I liked that. You had Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky walking off, and then the Usos end up walking in. Thought that was good. So Sarah Schreiber ended up, interviewing the Usos. The Usos end up telling Sarah Schreiber that they feel great after their SummerSlam match, and that they will beat the Mysterios later on in the night. The Usos end up saying that they are the ones, and pretty much that was basically that. And then we saw Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ended up coming out, and we got a video package of him attacking Riddle last week at the end of Monday Night Raw. And then we saw him and Riddle brawl at SummerSlam. So we saw all that. So Rollins got on the mic. He ended up welcoming the Houston crowd to Monday Night Rollins, which the Houston crowd tonight, I don't know what it was, but it felt like they were in a coma throughout the night. Not cheering, as loud. So they were just sitting on their hands like that. So Rollins ended up saying that it is a night of celebration because that we don't have to see or hear from Riddle. He ended up saying that there is a thin line between being gutsy and stupid, and that Riddle has crossed the stupid sign many times, like his big brother, Randy Orton. He is on the shelf with a career-threatening injury. So Rollins ended up saying that he can now turn his attention to the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, and the Usos, the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. So the Street Profits end up coming out. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Rollins ended up telling the people in the production truck to cut the Profits' music. He was like, oh, cut that music, cut their music. And so Rollins ended up telling the Profits to go away. Rollins then made fun of the Profits for losing to the Usos so much. And he ended up saying that the Profits should break up. So Rollins then told the Profits to head for the back. Dawkins got on the mic. He ended up saying to Rollins that they beat him for the Raw Tag Team Championship. And Montez Ford ended up saying that Cody Rhodes beat him with only one booby. Rollins then ended up asking if they came for a fight, but there can only be one of them. So Dawkins ended up asking Houston if they want to watch one of them beat Rollins. So the Houston crowd ended up cheering. And so Dawkins and Ford ended up playing rock, paper, scissors to determine who would face Rollins. So Ford then ended up grabbing the referee. He ended up running down to the ring. So we got the match, Seth Rollins versus Montez Ford, which was a good match. But the Houston crowd was just silent through this. I mean, this was, very good match here. Very entertaining with Rollins and Ford here. So the match ended up starting. Montez Ford clotheslined Rollins out of the ring. Montez Ford delivered a slap to Rollins and sent him face first to the barricade. Rollins tossed Ford into the ring and delivered a super kick. Rollins ended up going for the cover, and Ford ended up kicking out. Montez Ford ended up climbing up to the top rope, and we had Rollins end up rolling to the outside. Rollins was looking to go for the pedigree on the outside to Ford, but Ford countered it with a back body drop. Rollins and Ford ended up getting back in the ring. Rollins ended up driving Ford into the ring post. So Ford ended up going ribs first into the ring post. Rollins then delivered a chop to Montez Ford to send him into the corner. And he ended up delivering another chop to Ford. Ford fired back with chops of his own to Rollins, but Rollins ended up delivering some knees to Ford's midsection. Rollins then delivered a gutbuster. He ended up going for the cover, and Ford ended up kicking out. We had Ford end up delivering some back elbows to Rollins, and Rollins delivered a backdrop to Ford. So we had Ford end up going for the cover after he delivered a crossbody off the top rope to Rollins, and Rollins ended up kicking out. Rollins and Ford both exchanged forearms. Ford ended up getting the upper hand with a spinning back fist to Rollins. Ford delivered a kick to Rollins' midsection, and he followed up with an enziguri and a backdrop to Rollins. Ford delivered a standing blockbuster, which looked good, and he ended up going for the cover, and Rollins ended up kicking out. Later on, we had Rollins end up hitting the buckle bomb to Montez Ford. He followed up with a Falcon Arrow. He went for the cover. Ford kicked out. Rollins then looked to go for the frog splash off the top rope. And Rollins ended up moving out of the way. And Ford ended up looking to go for a frog splash of his own. Rollins ended up getting his knees up. And Rollins then ended up hitting the curb stomp to Montez Ford. And he went for the cover. And there you go. Rollins ended up winning the match. Post-match, Rollins ended up looking to beat down on Montez Ford still. But Dawkins slid into the ring and saved Montez Ford. And that was that. Overall, very good match from Rollins and Ford here. Just the crowd there was just very silent during this. It's like they did not give a shit what was going on. Like they should have been cheering through this match. You know, there was good wrestling here from Rollins and Ford. But overall, very good match it was. And then we had Alexa Bliss versus Asuka, which this was just a nothing match in my opinion because the match ended in no contest because Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky ended up coming out and they started beating down on both Alexa Bliss and Asuka. Dakota Kai then delivered a knee to Asuka in the corner. Dakota Kai then ended up giving Io Sky a chair. She ascended to the top rope and Bianca Belaire ended up coming out. So Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky retreated out of the ring. Bianca ended up grabbing the mic, and she ended up saying she wants a match with one of them. She wants a match with either Bayley, Dakota Kai, or Io Sky. Io Sky ended up pointing at herself, so Io Sky stepped up to Bianca's challenge. So we got that match later on in the night. Bianca Belaire versus Io Sky. But really, Alexa Bliss versus Asuka, not the match. The match ended in a no contest. And then we had the second triple threat match of the night. Ciampa, Dolph Ziggler, and Chad Gable. The winner gets to face AJ Styles later on in the night. So we had Dolph Ziggler end up coming out, which then Ciampa came out, and then Chad Gable. Chad Gable got on the mic, doing his whole cringe, shush and a thank you. God, every time he's on the mic and speaks, I'm like, cut his damn mic, please. He is so awful on the mic, doing that whole shush and a thank you. It's fucking corny and awful. And I really do hope Triple H drops that with Chad Gable. It just still reeks of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. But this was a good match here. Ciampa, Dolph Ziggler, and Chad Gable. Match started off with Dolph Ziggler. He ended up hitting Ciampa with a drop kick. Ziggler ended up hitting Chad Gable with the drop kick, and then he ended up going for the pin, and Ciampa ended up kicking out. Gable and Ciampa ended up being down on Dolph, and they ended up going after Dolph's legs, and both Ciampa and Gable ended up hitting Ziggler with a double back elbow. Gable ended up going for the pin, and Ciampa ended up pulling him off. They start to argue. Dolph ended up fighting back. Ciampa slingshotted Dolph into the corner. Gable slammed Ciampa into the mat. And then out of nowhere, Dolph ended up hitting the zigzag on Chad Gable. And then Dolph ended up going for the cover. Chad Gable ended up kicking out. As Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Gable end up locking in the ankle lock on Dolph Ziggler. Ciampa ended up breaking it up. He ended up going for the pin on Gable, to which Gable ended up kicking out. Ciampa then delivered a chop, and he ended up sitting Dolph on the top turnbuckle. So, at the end of the match, we had Chad Gable end up hitting the backslide on Ciampa, and Gable ended up going for the cover, but Ciampa ended up kicking out. Ciampa ended up managing to hit the fairy tale ending on Chad Gable, and he ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Ciampa ended up winning the match, so he will be facing Styles later on in the night, and the winner of that match will get to face Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship next week on Monday Night War, which is going to be from Cleveland. Overall, very good match from Ciampa, Dolph, and Chad Gable here in the last triple threat match of the night. And then we saw Edge. Edge ended up coming out. He got a massive pop from the crowd, to which they woke up when Edge came out. Edge sporting, glasses and a, new haircut, short haircut. So it's good hearing, Edge's, theme again. So Edge got on the mic. He apologized to the fans for being a bit of an asshole for the past few months. He wanted to say that he created Judgment Day to help out some younger talent and pass on the knowledge he has learned over the course of his career. Edge ended up saying that they thought that they had learned everything they needed to on him. He ended up saying that they managed to surprise him. He ended up saying that he was able to pull himself out of the hell they put him in. And Edge ended up saying that he will kill what he created. The Judgment Day. So Edge wants to kill, the Judgment Day, with Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. So that was what Edge had to say. Very short promo from Edge, of him coming back saying that he's going after the Judgment Day and kill it. So, but really happy that, Edge is back. And, he's back to being a babyface. And then we saw Rey and Dominik Mysterio backstage. Kevin Patrick ended up approaching them. And Kevin Patrick ended up asking about their match later on against the Usos. Rey ended up saying that Judgment Day is in their rearview mirror. And they now have to deal with Edge. They ended up saying that they are focused on defeating the Usos and becoming the new Undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. So that was what the Mysterios had to say about Rey and Dominik. And then we saw Sarah Schreiber. She was with Dakota Kai, Bayley, and Io Sky. Bayley ended up saying that the women have been on a downward spiral since she left, which that is true. Bayley has been out for a year, and the women's division has gotten worse since, she was out. That was under Vince McMahon's, creative, and Bruce Pritchard. So Bayley ended up saying that she outscored two of the best underrated women in the world, and that they will be in full control soon. So that was what Bayley had to say. But I'm liking, Bayley with Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Liking this group with them. And like I said, it just reminds me of when they were back down in NXT, with the black and gold NXT. Just brings back good times when, all three of them were down there. But love Dakota Kai. She's great in the ring. And Io Sky, she's very entertaining also in the ring. Both of them are very good in the ring. And then we had Bianca Belaire versus Io Sky, which this was a good match here. Bianca Belaire ended up sending Io Sky straight into the corner as the match started. Bianca Belaire delivered some shoulders to Io Sky's midsection, and she followed up with a drop kick. And pretty much Io Sky was just carrying Bianca through this match. So Io Sky ended up sending Bianca bouncing off the top rope. She ended up delivering a moonsault off the ropes to Bianca on the outside, which was great. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Bianca Belaire had the upper hand in the match and delivered a body slam to Io Sky. Bianca delivered a forearm to Io Sky, where she followed up with a kick. Sky ended up sending Bianca into the ropes and delivered double knees to her back. Sky delivered another double knees in the corner to Bianca, and she ended up going for the cover. Bianca ended up kicking out. Sky locked in the crossface on Bianca. Bianca managed to escape, and Sky ended up delivering a leg sweep. She ended up going for the cover, but Bianca ended up kicking out. Sky then climbed up to the top rope, and she flew off the top rope, got caught by Bianca, and Bianca ended up delivering a fallaway slam. Bianca then delivered a face buster to Sky, and she went up to the top rope, and she ended up flying off the ropes onto Io Sky. Bianca ended up going for the cover, and Sky ended up kicking out. So we had Bayley and Dakota Kai. They ended up coming down to the ring, which allowed Sky to climb up to the top, and Sky delivered a snap hurricanrana to Bianca. Sky ended up going for the cover, and Bianca ended up kicking out. So we had Sky end up coming back into the ring because we had Bianca end up catching Sky, sent her face first into the ring. She ended up tossing Sky back to the ring, and Bayley and Dakota Kai sat on the ring apron to block Bianca from getting into the ring. So Alexa Bliss and Asuka ended up coming out. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Bianca delivered a superplex to Io Sky, and she followed up with a standing moonsault. So we had Bianca end up going for the cover, and Sky ended up kicking out. Sky ended up firing back with a double stomp, and then delivered a double knees to Bianca in the corner. Bianca then delivered a spine buster to Sky, and she was looking to go for a standing moonsault, and Sky ended up getting her knees up. And then we had Bayley and Dakota Kai end up getting in Alexa Bliss's face because Sky managed to roll up Bianca with her feet on the ropes, and Alexa Bliss ended up knocking Sky's feet off the ropes. So that's when Bayley and Dakota Kai got in Alexa Bliss's face. Asuka ended up joining in, and they all started a brawl, and the match ended in a DQ. So pretty much that was basically that. They were all brawling, and officials had to come out and break them apart, and that was that. But neither these two women could have lost. And same with Alexa Bliss and Asuka. Neither of them could have lost. So I can sense why the two women matches went to DQ and one went to a no contest. And then we went backstage and we saw Kevin Patrick. Kevin Patrick ended up approaching Miz and Ciampa. And he ended up saying that things haven't been going his way since SummerSlam. Miz ended up saying that he was cheated out of his match. And he says he only lost at SummerSlam because Styles attacked Ciampa at ringside. So Ciampa ended up saying that Styles will realize he chose the wrong side at SummerSlam after he chose to support a social media influencer in Logan Paul. He ended up saying that it will be that much more satisfying when he beats him tonight. Miz ended up saying that the audience is looking at the next United States champion. He kept saying that he will do what he can to help him out. So pretty much that was, basically that. And then we had Styles versus Ciampa. Winner gets to face Bobby Lashley next week on Raw for the United States Championship. Booker T was on commentary for the match because it's in his hometown of Houston. So we had Styles end up coming out, and then Ciampa and The Miz was already waiting in the ring. And this was, another good match here. Styles and Ciampa end up locking up. Ciampa ended up gaining the upper hand with a shoulder tackle to Styles. Ciampa delivered some stomps to Styles in the corner. Styles delivered a backbreaker to Ciampa. Ciampa got back up and sent Styles under the bottom rope into the ring post. And Ciampa delivered a running knee to Styles' head. He ended up going for the cover, and Styles ended up kicking out. Styles and Ciampa were exchanging forearms. Styles ended up pinning a backbreaker face buster combo on Ciampa, which was good. Good spot there. Ciampa then ended up sliding out of the ring as Miz ended up checking on him. Styles ended up chasing Ciampa back in the ring and delivered a drop kick. Ciampa rolled out of the ring again and delivered a forearm over the top rope to Styles. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Styles had the upper hand in the match. He ended up pinning a backbreaker on Ciampa, which he followed up with a face buster. And it looked like Ciampa was bleeding a little bit. I saw like a little bit of blood on his forehead. So Styles ended up going for the cover, and Ciampa ended up kicking out. And the crowd started cheering tiny balls at The Miz. And I'm like, they really need to drop this, oh, my balls are massive shit with The Miz. Miz was wearing, his trousers and it said, my balls are massive with the hello sticker on it. The same design for Miz's new shirt that they're selling on WWE Shop. This thing needs to drop. They need to drop this. It is fucking stupid. Gotta be hearing tiny balls for The Miz. It's awful. Triple H, he needs to drop it because it still reeks of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. Styles ended up getting Ciampa up for the Styles Clash, but Ciampa managed to escape. Styles ended up suplexing Ciampa into the corner. Styles ended up hitting Ciampa with a forearm. He was looking to go for the phenomenal forearm, and Ciampa countered with a knee to Styles, and Ciampa followed that up with a powerbomb backstabber combo, which was good. Ciampa ended up going for the cover, and Styles ended up kicking out. So you had Miz end up getting Ciampa's foot on the bottom rope because Styles countered the air raid crash from Ciampa into the Styles Clash, and Styles ended up going for the cover near the ropes, and The Miz ended up getting Ciampa's foot on the bottom rope to break up the pin, and the referee didn't see that. So Styles ended up taking out The Miz on the floor. He sent him into the timekeeper's area. So the referee was beginning the count to 10, and Styles ended up beating the count. Ciampa then ended up hitting the fairy tale ending to Styles, and he ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Ciampa ended up winning the match. So Ciampa will get to face Bobby Lashley next week on Monday Night Raw for the United States Championship. So that is going to be a good match next week. But who knows? Is Ciampa going to be the new United States Champion next week? Or is Bobby Lashley going to still retain the title? I think that they're going to give it to Ciampa because Ciampa is one of Triple H's guys. Triple H was big on Ciampa when he was down in NXT. So they're possibly going to put the United States Championship on Ciampa. I mean, there's no way under Triple H's creative that he's going to make Ciampa lose the match next week. I think Ciampa is going to be the new United States Champion. Like I said, Ciampa is one of Triple H's guys. Triple H loves Ciampa. So I sense next week Ciampa is going to win the United States Championship. But we'll have to wait and see next week. But overall, this was a very good match between Ciampa and Styles here. Good wrestling from the both of them. So then we went backstage, and Kevin Patrick was with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley ended up telling Kevin Patrick that he will defend the title, the United States Championship, every week on Raw if he has to. So, if Bobby Lashley does that, we'll be getting an open challenge every single week, just like John Cena did when he was the United States Champion. So Bobby Lashley ended up saying that while Ciampa is dangerous, he is happy to give him a reality check by locking in the Hurt Lock. So that was what Bobby Lashley had to say. But, him saying if he has to defend the United States Championship every single week, have him do it. Bring back the open challenge. Like what I said, when John Cena was the United States Champion, he had an open challenge every single week. Hopefully they bring that back with Bobby Lashley defend the title every week. It would bring more prestige to the United States Championship. Main event: the Usos versus the Mysterios for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. And this was a good match, but you all know the outcome of the match. Predictable. We had, in the match, Rey and Dominik end up hitting a double 619 to Jimmy. Dominik ended up hitting a frog splash from the top rope. He ended up going for the cover. Jay ended up breaking out the pin. Dominik ended up climbing up to the top turnbuckle. And Jimmy ended up following him. Dominik ended up sending Jimmy off the top. And he delivered a drop kick into the ropes. And Dominik ended up looking to go for the 619. Jay ended up making a blind tag. And Jimmy and Jay end up hitting the 1D on Dominik. And there you go. The Usos end up winning the match, retaining the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. I mean, didn't want to go over the whole match because obviously predictable. We all knew the outcome that the Usos were going to retain. But it was still a good match. Post-match, Judgment Day, we had Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley. They end up ambushing both Rey and Dominik. Rhea Ripley end up locking in the triangle on Dominik in the corner. Edge end up coming out, and he ended up going straight for Damian Priest. He clotheslined Damian Priest out of the ring. Edge then leveled Balor, and he was waiting for Balor to get up to his feet to deliver the spear. So then we saw Rhea Ripley on the outside. Rhea Ripley shoved Dominik in the way of Balor and allowed Edge to hit the spear on Dominik. So Rey came into the ring, was like, oh, what just happened? So medical personnel ended up coming down to attend to Dominik, and that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. Where I sense this going is Rey saying to Edge, oh, why did you spear Dominik? Or maybe we get, Rey maybe turn heel. That's my prediction, but probably won't happen. Then we got a match between Rey and Edge. Or Rey will sense that, Rhea Ripley shoved Dominik, and the spear by Edge was just an accident. So that's where I see this going. Maybe I'll be wrong on that, but it's my prediction. But I know it probably won't happen. But interesting. This was a good match between the Usos and the Mysterios, but predictable outcome. Monday Night Raw tonight, very good show. It was just a breath of fresh air. Now that Triple H is, head of creative and has, control of, Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. We're seeing little baby steps in change with the shows. Change is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take, months, maybe a year until we see full change. I expect a full change in the new year. So it's just, little baby steps now with Triple H as, head of creative. Little baby steps of change here and there. And by next year, we'll be seeing probably a full change with the company and how the WWE product will be. So now that Triple H is in charge of creative. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the Dynamite review, which will be coming up on Wednesday. But I am seeing a early screening tomorrow of Bullet Train, which is the film that stars Brad Pitt. So I'll be seeing a screen of that tomorrow night. But I won't review it tomorrow night, so it'll probably be after the Dynamite review. Probably review it maybe Thursday or on Friday, depending. So it'll be Dynamite review, and then Bullet Train, and then the SmackDown and AEW Rampage review. So until then, I'll see you all later.